An organised crime group led by two brothers in the Rhondda Valley employed their parents to launder money made through the sale of cocaine. Members of the crime group were sentenced to a combined total of more than 70 years imprisonment. Thomas Davis, who's 38, and Jack Davis, who's 37, headed up a conspiracy which saw multiple kilos of cocaine being driven to South Wales by couriers. The drugs then cut down into lower purity cocaine and sold on in varying amounts in kilos to grams. Jacqueline Davis, who's 59, and Byron Davis, who's 66, the parents of Thomas and Jack, helped to launder money for their sons, with a safe in Byron's home found to contain £57,000 in cash. A shell company called Valley Self Storage was also set up to launder the funds. Thomas Davis's partner Nicole acted as a street dealer, dealing with the day-to-day gram customers and washed the cocaine into crack. Christopher Adams, Scott Alway and Stephen Evans acted as couriers for the group, travelling across the UK to pick up multi-kilo amounts of cocaine back to South Wales for onward sale. When Stephen Evans was arrested, he was discovered with £23,000 worth of cash in a safe and had more than £50,000 unexplained cash in his bank accounts. Gavin Etchell also acted as a courier and a high-level street dealer, supplying ounce amounts of cocaine to street dealers. He was stopped by police on July the 23rd, 2020 on the Trunk Road in Monmouth in a BMW. Etchell was arrested for a separate matter and two of his mobile phones were seized and downloaded. There was evidence on the phones he was supplying cocaine on behalf of Thomas Davis. On the 9th of February 2021, police executed warrants targeting the Davis brothers. More than 2 kilos of cocaine were recovered, along with 50 kilos of cutting agents, 2 hydraulic presses and blenders. These were found in a man-made drugs factory set up in a garage in the rear of a property in Treloar, which was rented by the Davis brothers for £50 a month. At a sentencing hearing at Cardiff Crown Court, Thomas Davis from Tony Pandy was sentenced to 16 years imprisonment for conspiracy to supply crack cocaine and cocaine and being concerned in the arrangement to facilitate acquisition or control of criminal property. Jack Davis, he was sentenced to 13 years and 7 months imprisonment for conspiracy to supply crack cocaine and cocaine and being concerned in the arrangement to facilitate acquisition or control of criminal property. Jacqueline Davis was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. You got Byron Davis, he got 1 year and 7 months, which was suspended for 2 years. You got Nicole, she was sentenced to 2 years and 2 months, suspended for 2 years. Scott Alway got sentenced to 9 years imprisonment for conspiracy to supply cocaine. You got Stephen Evans, he got 8 years and 9 months. You got Gavin Etchell, he was sentenced to 8 years imprisonment. You got Christopher Adams, he was sentenced to 8 years and 6 months. So following the hearing, Detective Constable Lewis Watkins of South Wales Police said all 9 involved were key figures in this drug supply chain, and I'm thrilled that we've been able to sentence them for their crimes and remove them from our communities. The sentences passed down sends a strong message that drugs and organised crime groups have no place in our communities, and not only have we been able to disrupt this organised crime group and their operation, but we've also been able to take a large quantity of drugs off the streets. South Wales Police is committed to protecting our community, and the success of this operation shows that we will use all necessary tactics to target organised crime groups and those participating in corruption, fraud and money laundering. And this is the man who stabbed his mother to death before leaving her body on her bed for several days before a call from the USA alerted police to a murder. Callum Thomas claimed he was suffering from diminished responsibility at the time, pleading guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter shortly before his trial at Plymouth Crown Court. However, prosecutors went on to tell the jury that Thomas had repeatedly made threats to hurt or even kill his mother, Deborah, over a period of years dating back to 2009. The jury heard that despite the series of assaults and threats, the mother did not want him to be charged, instead calling for mental health help. By 2018, Thomas had become more violent towards his mother, but she continued to make it clear to police that when they arrived that she did not want him to get into any trouble. On one occasion at their home, she revealed to police that he had held a knife to her throat while telling her that he wanted her dead. In late 2018, police took the step of issuing a domestic violence protection order banning him from entering her home for 28 days. The jury heard how in December 2019 he made threats to kill her by beating her to death or by slitting her throat. He also threatened to kill her cat, and in January 2020 he was readmitted into rehab in Luton as his mother told police she didn't want him charged with anything regarding the previous month's threats. Following his rehab, he appeared to be better, and it was not until mid-2022 police were called again by the mother. Again, the police issued a DVPO banning him from entering for 28 days, and police prepared another order at the end of March 2023 after the mother told police Thomas had been coming to her home again, making threats to kill her and asking her money. When she refused to give him money, he bashed her door into the head, and she told police he always carried a knife with him in his sheath. She told police he thought their relationship was fine, but he needed help with accommodation and his mental health. The jury heard that on April the 26th, 2023, Thomas was seen by a mental health nurse, and he revealed that he was living in a tent in the woods. He said he was not hearing voices but struggling with his memory, unable to be sure which memories were real and which were not. He claimed his mother was an alcoholic and had been abusive to him whilst he was growing up. The jury were told that he had made suggestions to staff at the hospital that he wanted to get his own back on her and anyone else who had wronged him in the past, and that he would kill them. He said he would kill his mother and then he would walk into a police station, and he told the nurse that he would kill his mother, and he said he knew that he would be going to prison, but it would be worth it. On May the 6th, 2023, Thomas walked into Crown Hill Police Station and told the reception he did not feel safe, that people were coming to get him. He claimed 2 men had sprayed him with LSD. Paramedics took him and his dog to hospital and was assessed by a first mental health nurse who considered Thomas was at no risk to others, and later by 2 consultant psychiatrists who deemed him to be psychotic but instead in need of accommodation. He was allowed to stay overnight with his dog and later left to go to his mother's home, but was later called to be told he could not be housed. Police later found he had bought a one-way train ticket to Perth using his mother's bank card. On May the 12th, he was seen by police, which was filmed on their body-worn video cameras, and the jury was told by the prosecutors that over the next few days there were gasps when it was not known where Thomas was, but by the stage we say his mother was already dead. We say she died that day he bought the train ticket. Police were then contacted by an online gamer in the USA who was concerned about Thomas, who he had gamed with for some time, and also for comments he had made before losing contact with him. In a message to the American, Thomas wrote that he had done something bad and didn't think he was going to be around for a long time, and that he would like to hang out with him one more time. After being contacted on May the 31st, officers attended his mother's home, and after forcing entry, they found her body partially under a duvet with a pillow over her face. She had been stabbed in the chest with a large kitchen knife. The jury were told that forensic examination suggested that the date of death was between 1 and 5 days before May the 10th or the 12th. Thomas was found guilty of murder by jury to a 11-1 majority verdict, and was told by Judge Peter Johnson that he would face a life sentence, but the minimum tariff that he would remain in prison before being considered for parole would be determined before he was sentenced on August the 6th. So guys, there's a number of news stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GC. Keep it locked, keep it real.